Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Bhagavad Gita. Today's verse is 5th chapter, verses 8 and 9. So the topic is engagement without entanglement. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणासिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome to this episode of Bhagavad Gita. Today's verse is chapter 5, texts 8 and 9. And the subject is engagement without entanglement. So these are the verses. So please repeat after me. We'll chant word to word and then line by line. It's actually 2 verses here, 4 lines each. Okay. Na एवा किंचित् करोमि इति युक्तः मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन प्रलपन विसृजन गृह्णन उन्मिशन निमिशन अपि इंद्रियाणि इंद्रिय अर्थेषु वर्तन्ते इति धारयन्। So, we'll chant line by line. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit. So please repeat after me. Pashyan shranvan sprishan jighran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan प्रलपन विसृजन गृह्णन उन्मिशन निमिशन्नपि इंद्रियाणि इंद्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्। So, very interesting verse. So here it is said Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. So, there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. According to our modern science, we are understood to have 5 senses. But according to Vedic understanding, we have 5 knowledge acquiring senses, which correspond to the 5 senses that we know through science, which is eyes, ears, nose, skin, and tongue, taste. But then there are working senses: the hands, the legs, the tongue again, but this time it's not for tasting, but for speaking. So the speech, and then generating organ, the genitals, and the anus for evacuating. So these are the working senses which keep everything in order, our material existence in order, and all of these are controlled by the mind. And the mind, and then the intelligence and the false ego, these are the subtle, these together constitute the subtle body: mind, intelligence, and false ego. Now, here it is said that a person who is, here the word is used tattvavit, that means one who knows the truth, one who is engaged in divine consciousness. Yuktaha, you see, yuktaha, engaged in divine consciousness, and tattvavit, one who knows the truth. So yuktaha means to be engaged. You see, so one who knows the truth, he will only engage in divine consciousness. One who actually knows the truth. So such a person may be doing so many things, but here it is said, although he may be engaged in all these different actions, but actually he is doing nothing at all. How is that so? Okay, this is one extreme. Not extreme, I mean, this is the actual normal state of every living entity. We should be like that. But then there is another situation where it is also said that we are not doing anything. This is a self-realized soul. But what about a soul not self-realized? Is it doing everything? Well, let's see that. 327. Prakriteः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. What is happening here? So, here also it is said, the person who is bewildered by false ego, he is also not the doer. The 3 modes are doing it. And the person who is self-realized, he is also not the doer. So why then are we punished or rewarded for our actions? Why? So it is said the only right thing or wrong thing to do is to associate. See, in the 13th chapter, 22nd verse, it is said, Purushah prakristho hi bhumte prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. Karanam gunasanga. Now, you see, the living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. So, our transmigrating or our journey in this material world, moving from one species to another, one planet to another, all this is because of our association with the modes. And as we associate with the modes, such will be the actions of our senses. Okay, there is a nice verse in the 11th canto. Let me check if I can find out. No, is it? Yeah, this is 10th canto, 10:46-41. You see, you'll get an idea. Yatha भ्रमरिका दृष्ट्या भ्राम्यतीव महीयते चित्ते कर्तरि तत्रात्मा कर्तेवाहम धिया स्मृतः. Just as a person who is whirling around perceives the ground to be turning, one who is affected by false ego thinks himself the doer when actually only his mind is acting. See this? This we can see when we are lying down and we are dreaming. We are doing so many things, you see, in the dream, but actually the soul in the gross body is just resting. The mind is going here and there. And the same thing is happening when we are so-called awake. The mind is pushing the senses, the gross body also to move accordingly. Whereas in the sleep, the gross body is resting, the mind is working, you know, and the mind is going here and there. So this mind is the actual thing that is, going here and there. And false ego, what is false ego? Our misidentification with matter. We think we are one with matter. So that is our false ego. So when we think we are one with matter, then we experience the distress, the happiness of this material world. It's like this. When I was a teenager, I used to play video games. So then, these shooting games are there. So I used to play that kind of games, or racing games, something like that. So when in the game, when I'm shooting and suppose somebody else shoots me and I'm dead, now I feel like as if I died. I feel frustrated, or I feel either happy when I'm shooting other people, or if I'm getting shot, then I become worried. So, and there is fear also sometimes, because these shooting games, sometimes you have to hide behind the wall and like shoot, and somebody hides and shoots at you, and all these games are there. I mean, I don't know why they're promoting violence with those games, but anyway, these games are there. And then you get anxious whether somebody is there. In some games, some horrible creatures come, so you are afraid of them. Actually, there's nothing that's going to happen to you. I'm just sitting on a chair. That's it. There's nothing, no horrible creature, nobody shooting me, nothing. But I identify myself with that character in that game, and therefore I feel the anxiety, I feel the fear, I feel the happiness, I feel the frustration, because I'm attaching myself to that identity of that person in the game. I don't know how many of you played video games, but if you play, you can feel this. And the same thing in the dream. We are feeling things for which, for things that are not even happening. The same thing, that is the result of false ego. False ego, ego means identity, and false ego means misidentity. Our misidentification, when we attach ourselves, our identity to anything, we develop all these symptoms of attachment, which is anxiety, fear, happiness, distress, all these things. But if we understand that this is not me, this is the course of activities that are going on, the body which is acting, which is interacting with this material world, but I am this pure spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, eternal servant of Krishna, and I have to engage in Krishna's service. And then when I can come out of it, when a person is playing the game, I had this experience. When my mother used to call me for meals, I used to get frustrated. No. Don't disturb me, because I'm so attached in what I'm doing, this so-called video game, and I think I'm that. This is disturbance. Similarly, people are now considering spiritual life, devotional service as disturbance. When we ask them to come to the temple or chant Hare Krishna or read Bhagavad Gita, these guys are always asking me to do all these things, because they are engrossed in that game of this material world. But if you actually come out, you stop identifying with the gamer completely. Now when I look back at what I was doing when I was a teenager, it was stupid, actually absolutely stupid. But when I'm engrossed in that, I can't see it. I can't see I'm stupid. I think I'm doing the most important, very important mission, but actually it has no value. So that is false ego. There is a nice example. When we whirl around, when we turn, the whole, this earth seems to turn around us, but actually the earth is not turning like that. We are turning. So it's like that. Our perception will change. And then because of that, there is this verse. This is what happens when we are affected by false ego, misidentification. You see this, 11:28-15 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shoka harsha bhaya krodha lobha moha spridhadaya ahankarasya drishyante janma mrityuschanatmanaha. Lamentation, elation, fear, anger, greed, confusion and hankering, as well as birth and death, are experiences of the false ego and not of the pure soul. Pure soul is not experiencing all these things. Just like when I am playing the video game, I am not experiencing that. I am not being killed, I am not being shot, but this is my false ego. That's why I feel something. That the misidentification is causing that thing. Now, when my mother comes and shouts at me, "Hey, don't play this," she is not feeling the same thing. She is feeling, what is stupid boy, playing games. So, but we are very serious into it. Same thing happens when a dream, if somebody is attacking us in a dream, then we shout, "Oh, please save me, please save me." But the person who's sitting beside us, hey, wake up, what are you doing? Why are you shouting like an idiot? So, that is the best thing, that is the best way to help a person who is hallucinated, haunted. The best way is to wake him up, because he is in delirium. He doesn't know what he's doing. So the best thing, that's why the best service to do is to preach Krishna consciousness and wake the people up into Krishna consciousness. That will actually completely solve their problems. Just like all problems of the dream are solved when we wake up. Like that. So what is happening now? So the senses are working, the soul does nothing, but he identifies himself with his body, and that false identification brings about all these feelings when the mind and the senses are acting. Now, at the same time, a person who actually understands that these senses are not to be enjoyed by me, or the mind is not to be enjoyed by me, like the entertainment is called in Hindi Manoranjan. Manoranjan means entertainment. So it is some gratification of the mind, you see. But the mind is not to be gratified like that. Mind is to be used in Krishna's service. It is his property. So when we understand that and we stay away from, we separate our identity from the matter. How to do that? With knowledge. With knowledge only can we do this. Separate our identity from the matter. This is called Tattva Jignasa. We have to inquire, who am I? Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. Athato Brahma Jignasa. Vedanta Sutra is saying. So this is the actual, what is that meaning? Jignasa means questioning, inquiry. Brahma or Tattva means philosophical inquiry into the absolute truth. So that is the aim of human life. Because by doing that, by such inquiry, and inquiry means you have to inquire someone. You just can't, inquire and then speculate on the answer. No. Inquire, just like there is an inquiry booth in airports or something like that. There is an inquiry booth, or building. If you go to a shopping mall or something, there is an inquiry booth. If you want to find some information, you can get there. You can't inquire just like nothing. You can't shout you can't go to a mall and shout, where is this shop? That's not how you do it. Or you speculate. You can, but you will get lost. But if you go to the information booth, whether it is a person sitting there or a person has already, put a map there or something like that, then we inquire. That map is, what is that? That is Shastra. That map is Shastra. So, either by Shastra or the person there who will guide you according to. So, that is inquiry. That's why we need Guru. Guru is Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. We have to inquire from the Guru, from the bona fide Guru. What kind of Guru? Tattva Darshinaha. Who has seen the truth, who knows the truth, who knows how to go to the truth. So, Pariprashnena Sevaya. So, we have to surrender to such a Guru, inquire confidentially and render service. Then we can get the answers. Because inquiry is not just to ask question and then get some cheap reputation for asking the best question in the world, but don't care for the answer. What is that? Like in my childhood, my father used to say, he says, like he advises something, like you should do like this. Then he says, then he goes a little bit philosophical. When he's in a good mood, then he goes philosophical and he says, well, you should do like this for what? Because so that you achieve this. But why to achieve that? So because, then this can be achieved. But why to achieve that? Well, that is the $1 million question which remains. He used to say like that. So, because he always comes to the point where to do what with life? What to do with our life is the $1 million question and which remains. So, he used to always say this line. So, fortunately, it doesn't have to remain. It is a $1 million question, maybe even more, much more than $1 million. But it doesn't have to remain a question. Because human life is meant to find the answer to that question. What to do with life? What is life? Who am I? These are the answers. The answers to these questions should be the philosophical search or the whole gamut of activities for the human being. Because ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyam etat pasubir naranam dharmo hitesham adhiko visesho dharmasya hina pasubir samana. So dharma is the only thing that distinguishes us from the animals. And if what is dharma? Dharma means our eternal occupation. That is exactly what, the same question, what to do? What is our occupation? What to do with life? What is our life meant for? So these things are to be understood in human life. So a person who does not get carried away by the modes of material nature. Now when he associates with the modes, then prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. So in the material atmosphere, in this material world, what we are essentially doing is that we are associating with the modes. And the modes are forcing our senses to act in different ways. If I associate with smokers, one day I may also become a smoker. Even if I don't, I see it as okay. Smoking is not that bad, because if I understand that it is bad, I will not be around anybody who smokes. I can't even take the smell of that. But if I can take the smell, that is already half agreeing to the principle that smoking is all right, even if I don't do it personally. And eventually it comes to a point where, why don't I try? Not a big deal. It becomes like that, the association. That's why peer pressure. What is peer pressure? Especially in the young teenage youth, that age, peer pressure acts a lot. Actually everywhere. In the beginning, the child associates with the parents, and then with the friends, and then with the lover or whatever. So, and then with the children, and then with the grandchildren or whatever. So in this way, he's always associating, or with office colleagues or neighbors. We are always associating. And nowadays we have social media. We are associating. Everybody of us, we are associating. Now that association is what is causing our elevation or our downfall. Asat Sangha. If we associate with Asat, non-devotees, and any product of non-devotees, then we will degrade to that consciousness. You see? And if I associate with devotees, Satsanga, then I elevate myself. Then I know how to, because I associate not with the modes. I mean, if we are devotees, if we become devotee, then the devotee, he does not associate with the modes. He associates with Krishna, who is Harirhi Nirguna Sakshat. 2 verses are there. I mean, many verses are there. I will show you first Bhagavad Gita. 7:14. दैवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामे वये प्रपद्यन्ते माया में ताम तरन्ति ते. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So, if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that is associating with Krishna, then we can cross over this. And that is explained here, Srimad Bhagavatam 1:11-38. एतदीशनमीशस्य प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणैः न युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्यथा बुद्धिर्तदाश्रया. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. This is how, when we associate with the Lord, we disassociate with the 3 modes of material nature. That's how we come beyond the state of ahankar, false ego. And another verse is there, 10th canto, 88th chapter, 5th verse. Harirhi nirgunah sakshat purushah prakriteh parah sasarvadrig upadrashta tam bhajan nirguno bhavet. Lord Hari, however, has no connection with the material modes. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-seeing eternal witness who is transcendental to material nature. One who worships him becomes similarly free from the material modes. So all these verses point to this thing, that if we associate with the Lord, then we cross above the modes. Now how to associate with the Lord? That association with the Lord starts with association of devotees. Adau Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koy Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Chaitanya Charitamrita is saying that all Shastras are recommending Sadhu Sangha. Even Chanakya Pandit also said, keep always association of sadhus. lavamatra sadhusanga sarvasiddhi hoy. Even a fraction of a second of association of devotees is, brings all perfection. That is also said in the Bhagavatam 11:2-30. Ata atyantikam kshemam prichhamo bhavato naghaah samsaresmin kshanardhopi satsangah shevadhirnirnam. Samsaresmin kshanardhopi satsangah shevadhirnirnam. Therefore, completely sinless one, I ask you to kindly tell me what the supreme good is. After all, even half a moment's association with pure devotees within this world of birth and death is a priceless treasure for any man. Even Ramananda Rai also said that what is the best, most valuable thing in this world? Association of devotees, he said. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him the question, what's the most valuable thing? Association of devotees. He did not say gold, he did not say diamond, he did not say, what is that, platinum or whatever it is. He said association of devotees. Because they can, show us the path how to go back to Krishna. 11:25 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Satsangalabdhaya bhaktya mayimam sa upasita savai me darshitam sadbhir anjasa vindate padam. One who has obtained pure devotional service by association with my devotees always engages in worshipping me. Thus he very easily goes to my abode, which is revealed by my pure devotees. You see, we can only obtain pure devotional service by association with Krishna's devotees. And the devotees reveal the abode of Krishna. Before Srila Prabhupada, what did we know about the abode of Krishna? We do not even know our abode. We do not know where we came from, we do not know who we are, nothing. So the pure devotee reveals our real abode. And when we follow his path, then devotional service. That's why in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Madhya 22:83. You see, Krishna Bhakti Janma Moola Hoy Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Prema Janme Teho Puna Mukhya Anga. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, you see this? Association with devotees is still most essential. It is not that I graduate to a situation where I don't need any more devotees. Prabhu, I am a Satsanga alumni. You know what's alumni? Alumni means, like when you are in university and then after that you finish the university, then now you are alumni of the university. Means previously you were there in the university. So we cannot become alumni of Sadhu Sangha. No. We have to always be in Sadhu Sangha. When? In the beginning stages, and also even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. We can see even in the behavior of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself. And he came in the Mahabhav, in the mood of Radharani herself, who is the topmost devotee. Still he always kept himself among devotees. In the course of the day, all kinds of devotees used to come and meet him. And in the night also, he was with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. These devotees were there. Govinda Das. So all these, devotees were around him always. So like that, we have to always keep association of devotees. Although it is said that a yogi should, be alone and, practice, but especially in Kali Yuga, we are not practiced to do that. We are not practiced to sit in the forest, brahmachari training first of all, and then all these things are completely out, finish. In fact, our Yuga Dharma is Sangopangastra Parshadam, Krishna Varnam Dvisha Krishnam, Sangopangastra Parshadam. Sango means Sa-ango. From there it's coming Sangha. Sangopangastra Parshadam, Yajnai Sankirtana Prayai Yajantihi Sumedhasai. Sankirtana means congregational chanting. not some nirjan bhajan. What is that? Alone chanting. No. Congregational chanting. Even when dormant love for Krishna awakens, that means even when we become pure devotee, oh, now, okay, I have attained Sakhyaras Prabhu, finish, no, I don't need any more association, enough, thank you, bye bye. No such thing. All the time we have to be in association of devotees. So, the most important factor here is association of devotees. Association is the thing that will either degrade us or elevate us. Now, what is association? Okay, we are talking so much about association. What is association? How do we associate? Oh, Vanajakshi, I did not even notice. Vanajakshi Mataji is asking word to word translation. I did not even go through the word to word translation. Okay. Well, I have gone so far already. Okay. Yeah, I have completely forgot about that. 5, 8 and 9. Let's go there. Actually, now exactly this is the topic. What is association? This is association. So now we will go through the word to word translation, you see. Na, never. Eva, certainly. Kinchit, anything. Karomi, I do. Iti, does. Yuktaha, engaged in divine consciousness. Manyeta, thinks. Tattvavit, one who knows the truth. Pashyan, seeing. Shrinvan, hearing. This is all association. Pashyan, seeing. Shrinvan, hearing. Sprishan, touching. Jighran, smelling. Ashnan, eating. Gachan, going. Swapan, dreaming. Shwasan, breathing. Pralapan, talking. Visrijan, giving up. Grihanan, accepting. Unmishan, opening. Nimishan, closing. Api, in spite of. Indriyani, the senses. Indriya artheshu, in sense gratification. Vartante, let them be so engaged. Iti, thus. Dharayan, considering. So these activities, by these activities, we are associating. By seeing, like what do we see? The subject matter which we see with our eyes, that thing may be in the mode of ignorance, passion or goodness. Because when we see that, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshupajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha. So, kamat krodho bijayate, of course it goes on. Krodhat bhavata sammoha, sammohat smriti bhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashriti. But this first aspect now, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshupajayate. Vishaya means the sense objects. When we contemplate the sense objects with our senses, then what is happening? Sangasteshupajayate. Upajayate means it brings forth. Sangaha, the association is being brought about. And from that association, sangat sanjayate kamaha. From our association, our desire will develop. So if I associate with mode of things in the mode of ignorance, then my desires will be in the mode of ignorance. If I associate with things in the mode of passion, my desire will be molded in the mode of passion. If I associate with the things in the mode of goodness, my desire will be in the mode of goodness. If I associate with things that are transcendental to the three modes, my desires also become transcendental. What is transcendental desire? I thought we should become desireless. No. Desiring only Krishna's satisfaction, that is transcendental desire. So in this way, according to our association, our desire develops. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. So this is how we associate. So that associating, like all our senses, when we contemplate what we see, accordingly we develop the qualities. And therefore, it is very important that we engage our senses in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, dreaming, breathing, talking, giving up. That means even renouncing, accepting, opening, closing. All these things have to be directed towards Krishna. Then, yes, he is the director of his senses, Goswami. He can control what he wants to see. Not that whatever is visible. You know, I don't know if you have noticed, if you watch nowadays social media, either Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, it is always showing, it is recommending to you next thing, what you can watch, what you can watch, what you can watch. It is recommending. You have no control. You see? So in that way we waste time, you see. So Maya is always like that, recommending. Okay, this next, this next, this next, this next. Before you know it, life is finished. Social media is nothing but just a visual representation of what Maya is. So if we go intentionally into social media only to spread Krishna's message. Now here we have a live stream. We are using social media, but there is an intention, not just carried away by the influence of the this thing, but influencing the people, whoever are here, by sharing Krishna's knowledge. That is proper association. You see, that is proper association. So this anything like, so whether social media or here also, I mean even in our life, we have to choose what we associate with. I think there is a nice verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11:13:1 maybe. You see this? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, I think we'll read the verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sattvam Rajastama iti guna buddher nachatmanah satvenanyatamo hanyat sattvam satvena chaivahi. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion and ignorance, pertain to material intelligence and not to the spirit, soul. See that? By development of material goodness, one can conquer the modes of passion and ignorance, and by cultivation of transcendental goodness, one may free oneself even from material goodness. So we have to associate first of all with the mode of goodness and then even transcend even goodness. Now, in the next verse, I think, you see this. Sattvad dharmo bhaved vriddhat pumso mad bhakti lakshanah satvikopasaya sattvam tato dharmah pravartate. When the living entity becomes strongly situated in the mode of goodness, then religious principles characterized by devotional service to me become prominent. See, this is how. So we have to associate strongly with the mode of goodness. One can strengthen the mode of goodness by cultivation of those things that are already situated in goodness, and thus religious principles arise. Now, for example, waking up. You think, okay, you are just waking up, but actually you are associating. You are associating. What time of the day you wake up, that time, that is what your association is. If I wake up in the afternoon, mode of passion. Late in the morning, all mode of passion. Brahma Muhurtam means the time which is meant for spiritual activity. 1.5 hours before sunrise. That is when, that is Brahma Muhurta. Actually 1 hour 48 minutes, I think. No, sorry, 1.5 hours. Yeah. So that is when the spiritual activity, if you can wake up at that time, even slightly before that, and be ready for spiritual activity at that time, mode of goodness you are cultivating. It's not just, oh, I'm just waking up. You are associating already. And what food we eat, we are associating. What things we see, we are associating. All these things we are associating. So now, how to associate properly? So now all these things are interface. You know what is an interface? Interface is when you interact with something. The points at which you interact with that something is called an interface. For example, the screen, the computer screen, is an interface, or the phone screen now, for a phone or computer, whatever you are, in whichever you are watching this lecture, that device is your interface to interacting with this session here. That device, that screen, that is the interface. So you are interacting with that, and through that you are interacting with something more remote. So now, we the soul, to interact with this material world, we have these senses, and the sense objects, they are touching. The senses are touching the sense objects. The eyes are touching the form, the ears are touching the sound, in likewise. So with the senses we are engaging with the sense objects. These are the points of interface with the material world. Now we have to bring in front of our senses those things that will cultivate our Krishna consciousness. I think let's see what the next verse. You see how further it is explained how with our proper association we can overthrow the influence of improper association. Dharmo rajastamo hanyat sattva-vriddhir anuttamah ashu nashyati tanmulo hi adharma ubhaye hate. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.13.3. Religious principles strengthened by the mode of goodness destroy the influence of passion and ignorance. When passion and ignorance are overcome, their original cause, irreligion, is quickly vanquished. You see this? So in this way, we have to defeat the influence of passion and ignorance by associating with the mode of goodness and even rising above goodness. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. 2.49 of Bhagavad Gita. Buddhau sharanam anvichya kripana phalahetavaha. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. And in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So, how this abominable activities, sinful activities will be far distant? If you are always engaged in devotional service, then we don't engage with those modes which cause those abominable, irreligious activities. If you strongly associate with the mode of goodness, strongly engage in devotional service, then we can keep these things at bay. So, in other words, if we lax or if we slack in our standards of sadhana, then again Maya will come back. And the best example is Bharat Maharaj. You know, I mean, we are of course best examples, but you know, there is a nice story in Bhagavatam, which we can refer to how he was so serious about spiritual life. He went to the forest, leaving aside all his kingdom and everything. Such a powerful king. But then he got attached to a deer, an animal, and he slackened in his sadhana, and again all irreligious qualities all came about. Irreligion means it is symptomized by excessive attachment to this material world, to anything within the material world. So that excessive attachment we should have for devotees. We should be attached to the devotees. Because it is said here, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 23, text 55. Sango yah samsriter hetur asatsu vihito dhiya sa eva sadhushu krito nihsangatvaya kalpate. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So again, highlighting the importance of sadhu sangha. We should never think ourselves qualified enough to stay away from sadhu sangha. So we have to always remember that alone we are easily susceptible to the influence of Maya. But only in this association of sadhus, yes, proper devotees, then we can stay intact. Our spiritual life can stay intact. Now, with our senses, what are the things that we need to do? So the first thing is Ado Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha. And then in the Sadhu Sangha, this is what happens. You hear first. Hearing and chanting happens. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanadashvapavarga vartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukrameshyati. In the association of pure devotees, Discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. See? By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation. All these things are possible where? In the association of devotees. And another verse, I think, yeah. यत्रोत्तमश्लोकगुणानुवादः प्रस्तूयते ग्राम्यकथाविघातः निषेव्यमाणोऽनुदिनं मुमुक्षोर्मतिं सतीं यच्छति वासुदेवे. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics and sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is discussion only of the qualities, forms, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge into the existence of the Absolute Truth abandons this idea and gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva. So, in this way, we advance in the association of devotees. Now, let's see this another verse. 430. Okay, this is also about association, but okay. Even a moment, okay, let's read the verse. Tulayamala venapi nasvargam na punarbhavam bhagavatsangi sangasya martyanam kim utashishaha. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into the Brahman effulgence in complete liberation. For living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with pure devotees is the highest benediction. Now, there's another one actually. I wanted to show you. This one. 4:30:20. Navyavadhridaye yajño brahmaitad brahmavadibhih namuhyanti na shochanti na hrisyanti yato gatah. Always engaged in the activities of devotional service, devotees feel ever increasingly fresh and new in all their activities. The all-knower, the super soul within the heart of the devotee, makes everything increasingly fresh. This is known as the Brahman position by the advocates of the Absolute Truth. In such a liberated stage, Brahma Bhuta, one is never bewildered, nor does one lament or become unnecessarily jubilant. This is due to the Brahma Bhuta situation. So when we discuss, and when we not only discuss, we discuss means not, okay, now we are discussing the subject matter of scriptures, but even discussing how to preach, and not only just discussing, actually going out and preaching and reaching out. So all these, so many activities are there in the association of devotees. We have to do all that. Then, yes, we will feel newer and newer taste. If we keep in contact with the spiritual, like if we just officially engage in devotional service, but if our mind is somewhere else, totally engaged in material activities, then we cannot get the bliss. Mayar Pita Manobuddhir, Krishna says, engage your mind. So the perfect example is King Kulashekar, Ambarish Maharaj. 9:4:18-20. Savai manah Krishna padaravindayor vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane karau harer mandiramarjanadisho shrutim chakarachyuta satkathodaye mukundalingalaya darshane drisho tadbhritya gatra sparshenga sangamam घ्राणं च तत्पाद सरोज सौरभे श्रीमत्तुलस्या रसनां तदर्पिते पादौ हरेः क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने कामं च दास्ये न तु कामकाम्यया यथोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रया रतिः. This is complete. All the different activities that are listed down in today's verse, that is engaged by Maharaj Ambarish in devotional service. So this is how we have to conquer the association of the material nature and engage in or achieve the association of Krishna. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. First of all mind, then all the other senses follow. His words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan, or even a temple for that matter, Krishna's temple, especially where he is glorified. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. So different devotees, like if there are advanced devotees, we touch their feet. If equal stature, then we embrace, like that. So different ways of touching. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, and his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is engagement without entanglement. So this is the way to increase attachment for the Lord, and of course proportionate detachment from the material world, and be completely free from all material desires. See? So this is the way we have to associate. So there are similar verses. I will just show them. (1080) 3 and 4. सावाज्ञया तस्य गुणान् गृणीते करौ च तत्कर्म करौ मनश्च स्मरेद्वसन्तं स्थिरजङ्गमेषु शृणोति तत्पुण्यकथाः सकर्णः. Actual speech is that which describes the qualities of the Lord. Real hands are those that work for Him. A true mind is that which always remembers Him dwelling within everything moving and non-moving. And actual ears are those that listen to sanctifying topics about Him. Next verse. Shirastu tasyo bhayalingamanamet tadeva yat pashyati tadhi chakshuh angani vishno rathatajjananam padodakam yani bhajanti nityam. An actual head is one that bows down to the Lord in His manifestations among the moving and non-moving creatures. You see, that means He comes in moving and non-moving creatures. Real eyes are those that see only the Lord. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. So with the love of Godhead, we can actually see the Lord. Until then, we don't even have eyes. It's like compared to the plumes of a peacock. We'll go to that as well. So the actual limbs are those which regularly honor the water that has bathed the Lord's feet or those of His devotees. So in this way, our real engagements for the sense that are actually meant for the senses are described here. Whereas now we are engaging our senses in prostitution. Just like if a wife, she engages in the service of somebody other than the husband, she is considered a prostitute. So our actual Lord is Krishna. We have to be chaste to Him. Actually, all these things are supposed to be used for Him. But now we are using them, we are engaging in prostitution of our mind and senses. So we have to reform ourselves. There is a beautiful verse in the Mukundamala Stotra, 19th verse. Yat Krishna pranipata dhuli dhavalam tadvarshma tadvai shiras ते नेत्रे तमसोज्झिते सुरुचिरे याभ्यां हरिर्दृश्यते सा बुद्धिर्विमलेन्दुशङ्खधवला या माधवध्यायिनी सा जिह्वामृतवर्षिणी प्रतिपदं या स्तौति नारायणम्. That head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful, which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. That intelligence is spotless, like the white glow of the moon or a conch shell, which concentrates on Lord Madhava. And that tongue rains down nectar, which constantly glorifies Lord Narayana. Next. Now here, King Kulashekar is ordering his senses to engage in that way. Jihve kirtaya keshavam muraripum cheto bhaja sridharam panidvandva samarchaya chuta katha shrotradvayatvam shrinu krishnam lokaya lochanadvaya harer gacchangri yugmalayam जिघ्रघ्राण मुकुंद पाद तुलसीम मूर्धन्य माधोक्षजम. O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Keshava. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hands, serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Shri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple of Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulsi buds on Lord Mukunda's feet. O head, bow down to the Lord Adhokshaja. See? And yes, I think 27th verse. Namami Narayana Pada Pankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Nama Nirmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Avyayam. At every moment I bow down to the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. I perform worship to Narayana, I recite the pure name of Narayana, and I reflect on the infallible truth of Narayana. So these are the activities that we should engage in. Then we are associating with the Lord with these activities. Otherwise we are associating with the three modes. We are always associating either with this or that. Then another verse. This is again similar to the 20th verse. Chetas chintaya kirtaya swarasane namri bhavatvam shiro हस्तावंजलि संपुटं रचयतं वंदस्व दीर्घं वपोः आत्मन् संश्रय पुण्डरीकनयनं नागाचलेन्द्रस्थितं धन्यं पुण्यतमं तदेव परमं दैवं हि सत्सिद्धये. O mind, think of the lotus-eyed Lord who reclines on the mountain like serpent Ananta. O tongue, glorify him. O head, bow down to him. O hands, join your palms in supplication to him. O body, offer outstretched obeisances to him. O heart, take full shelter of him. That Supreme Lord is the topmost deity. It is He alone who is all auspicious and supremely purifying. He alone who awards eternal perfection. But if we are engaging in so-called devotional activities, but our mind is not there, our mind is not, in the mood of devotion. Actually, even if our, at least if we are following the order of the spiritual master, that is also devotional service. Even though we may not be perfectly able to follow the order, we should try our very best in following such order. Now, if we don't have devotional service as the aim, but if we engage in all kinds of Vedic study and everything, austerities and all these things, that is a waste of time. That is also stated in the same Mukundamala Stotra. In other places also, Bhagavatam also 1-8. But here, Amnayabhyasananyaranyaruditam Vedavratanyanvaham Medascheda phalani purta vidhayah Sarvam hutam bhasmani Tirthanam avagahanani chagaja Snanam vinayat pada Dvandvam bhoruha samsmritim vijayate Devah sanarayana. All glories to Lord Narayana, without remembrance of his lotus feet. Recitation of scripture is merely crying in the wilderness. Regular observance of severe vows enjoined in the Vedas is no more than a way to lose weight Execution, nowadays yoga has become like this to lose weight. All the, what is that? Regular observance of severe vows, all these asanas and pranayam, all these so-called supposed to be tapasya to focus the mind on the Lord, but without remembrance of His lotus feet, all these things are a good way to lose weight. That much you can get benefit, but not more than that. Execution of prescribed pious duties is like pouring oblations into ashes, and bathing at various holy sites is no better than an elephant's bath without remembrance of the Lord. So, we have to engage ourselves, our senses, everything in Krishna's service. And that service is possible in the association of devotees. That is why we have association. We have this temple. We are expanding our movement. Why? Only to give that association to people in general, to the humanity. If they can associate with devotees, then they will also become free from the influence of the modes of material nature, and that's how they will come to the point where they can fully engage themselves without any entanglement and without any rebirth. Entanglement means again, mrityu samsara vartmani, coming back into this repeated cycle of birth and death. So that we are offering a chance for them to rise above that. That is our movement, and therefore we have to, our Krishna consciousness movement, we have to spread vigorously to offer that association. And to be able to offer that association, we have to follow everything nicely. Then we can give that association. Of course, we are not on the level of Srila Prabhupada, right? He is a pure devotee. His association is always the most purifying. But if we at least strictly follow his instructions, the effect will be the same. Why? Because the order of the spiritual master is the active principle of spiritual life. So if somebody is following the order of the spiritual master, he may not be perfect, but because the order is being carried out sincerely, the effect will be perfect. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 12, text 10 maybe? Yeah. Acharyer mata jay shay mata sar, tara agnya laghi chale shaita asar. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle in the spiritual life. Anyone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. If we obey his orders, yes, we become useful in propagating this movement, in the service to the Sankirtan movement. We become useful instruments. But if we disobey, then we become useless. So you may think, one may think, how can I offer my association? What is the use of my association? So yes, we are not perfect. We are not saying we are perfect. But the order of the spiritual master, if it is perfectly carried out, to the best of our ability, sincerely, that will carry the force. That's how the Sankirtan movement, just like when Srila Prabhupada, in the 1960s, 70s, all his disciples, how the movement spread so fast all around the world. How? Because his order was followed. Of course, there were also many devotees who were not following his order, but at least the leaders, at least they preached, they distributed books, That is how we have to follow his order, open temples and everything, manage all these different affairs of the movement. So we are undertaking this huge operation of setting up temples, of organizing huge festivals and deity worship and classes, various engagements in devotional service. All these things are just to offer that association and variegated engagements in devotional service, so that everyone gets a chance to associate with Krishna by way of service rather than associate themselves with the modes of material nature. So that is what this is all about. So I would like to stop it here, and we'll take any questions. Of course, we can expand upon this in many ways, but I think you get the idea. So let's go to the questions. Bibhanshu Sekhar Chaudhary is asking, please let me know way to meet immortal soul. Can Gita give way to meet immortal soul? Yeah, that's the whole subject. Because we lost ourselves in this material world. The Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also was in the same position. He lost himself. He was worried about things that are not at all pertaining to himself. You see? So, the whole Bhagavad Gita is to make him understand that actually he is the soul, and what is the duty of the soul, what is the platform on which the soul should act. Actually, you are the soul. It's not meeting something else, the immortal soul. You are the immortal soul. But now we all think we are this body, this mortal body. But this mortal body is like a dress. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. 2nd chapter, 22nd verse. So that is causing all the problems because of our misidentifying ourselves. And therefore we are engaging in all this different, and then we are associating with the modes of material nature by engaging in various activities, and then we are getting entangled. Now we have to disentangle ourselves from there, and that is only possible by associating with devotees. Satsanga. You see? Oh yeah, I wanted to show that, right? The plumes of a peacock. Okay, let me go there first. Rajagishwar Prabhu has reminded me. The real senses are those which engage in Krishna's service, but those senses which look like senses, but they don't perform the real function of the senses. बिलेबतोरुक्रमविक्रमान्ये न शृण्वतः कर्णपुटे नरस्य जिह्वासति दार्दुरिकेव सूत न चोपगायत्युरुगाय गाथाः. One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead, and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord, is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes of snakes and a tongue like the tongue of a frog. So, no use having a human ear and tongue, because human tongue we can chant. I think I made that Instagram post recently. The lion's jaws are very powerful, or a shark's jaws, or a tiger, they have powerful jaws, or even a hyena. Now, their mouth is very powerful, but their mouth is used to capture animals. But our mouth is much more powerful than the lion's mouth. Why? We can capture God. They can only capture an animal. By chanting Hare Krishna, Prabhupada said Krishna is already on the tongue. Abhinnatvan nama namino. The name Krishna and the person Krishna are non-different. So we are already having Krishna in our mouth. How powerful a mouth you need to to hold God. The only powerful mouth is human mouth. With human mouth you can do that. But if we don't do that, if we use our tongues for not chanting Hare Krishna, then what is the difference between the frog's tongue and our tongue? Frog's tongue is better actually, because frog has longer tongue than ours. So, next. Bharah param patta kirita jushtam apyuttamangam nanamen mukundam shavau karau no kurute sapariyam harerlasat kanchana kankanauva. The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead, Hari. And what is the other one? Bhagavad bhakti hinasya jatah shastram japastapah apranasya eva hi dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. What is that? Bhagavad bhakti hinasya. Madhya 1975. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Japastapah Apranasyeva Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. For a person devoid of devotional service, birth in a great family or nation, knowledge of the revealed scriptures, performance of austerities and penance, and chanting of Vedic mantras are all like ornaments on a dead body. Such ornaments simply serve the concocted pleasures of the general populace. I think on Monday we have done this Vaishnava songs, and on that, towards the end, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, Prana ache jar, shay hetu prachar. So, who has life, he can preach. Only a dead man cannot preach. A dead man cannot preach. Those who are spiritually dead, no devotional service, then he cannot preach. Any man who is alive in Krishna consciousness, he wants to preach. That is a symptom of a person who is enthusiastic, who has life in Krishna consciousness. If you are engaging in devotional service but we are not getting any taste to preach, if you don't like preaching, then that is not a healthy state of mind. Then we are not in an alive condition. We are dying. And Prabhupada said, how long will the belling go on? Belling means, ringing the bell in the temple. How long will the belling go on artificially? No. You have to preach, Prabhupada said. You see so many temples in India, here also. So many temples, no preaching, simply belling. Ting, 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 ting. Or, some, especially in the South Indian style, we have, apart from bell, we have the drum also. Ding, 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 and then the trumpet. Bang, 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 all this sound will come. And then all this sound, but no, no glories of the Lord being broadcasted. What is the use? Simply making a cacophony. So, we have to preach. Otherwise, if without preaching, without glorifying the Lord, everything will die out. That is the main thing. 2.3.22, which you didn't cover again. Eyes are compared to the plumes printed on a peacock. Okay, good. Rajagishwar Prabhu again. The eyes. Okay, these were also there, the senses, but eyes were also mentioned. 2.3.22. Barhayite te nayane naranam lingane vishnor na nirikshato ye padau nirnam tau drumajanma bhajo kshetrani nanu vrajato hareryau. Drumajanma bhajo. Being born of the tree. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock. The peacock has eyes. Another thing also has eyes, the ears of the tiger. The ears of the back of the ears of the tiger and the top, they look like eyes. Back or the front. So sometimes they intimidate the other animals with that. So these kind of things, they are just, the decoration, they're not functional. So the eyes which do not see the Lord are actually not functional eyes. They're not functional. Dysfunctional eyes. So now our eyes are like that. Now we are gradually we are removing the cataract that is covering our vision. And then we can actually see. So this removing of the cataract is our sadhana process. Okay, and those printed on the plumes of a peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. The legs of the trees, they don't move. If we move widely in this material world, we are still in the same place, material world only. Unless we move to the spiritual world, then it is considered movement. Now, for example, you may know people who are in maybe India, and no matter how much they move in India, they are still in India. Or if they are supposed, like I am from Hyderabad, so I know people who are in Hyderabad right now. So how much ever they move in Hyderabad, they are in Hyderabad only. They are in one place. Whether they are in one part of the Hyderabad or another part of the Hyderabad, I will say they are in Hyderabad only. Only when they move and maybe come here or come somewhere, then yes, we consider that a movement. See? So similarly, wherever we are in this material world, we are rooted in the material world only. Unless we move to the spiritual world, it is not considered real movement. We are still stuck in the same place. If in the prison house I change from first class cell to second class cell to third class cell or to first class cell, I am still in the prison. I may move around, but I am still in the prison. So only when I come out into the society, that's when it is considered some improvement. So like that, if we are just rooted in the material world, it's like a tree trunks. We are not moving. But when we go to the temple, that is the embassy of the spiritual world. So we are actually moving from the material world to the spiritual world. That is a real movement. Otherwise, it's the same. We are just in the material world. So all these things are there. So now going back to the questions. Yeah, I think the moderator, we have the link of my Instagram post about the human tongue that is there, with appropriate verses also in that post. The link is there in the comment section. And now to the questions. Okay. Wait a second. Yeah. Vanajakshi Mataji. So, Prabhuji could kindly enlighten on symptoms of a pure devotee also. I think we covered that because, of course, there are so many symptoms. But there are 26 qualities of a pure devotee. All that is stated in the Nectar of Devotion. But, we have, as a summary, we have seen that verse 5, 12, 13. In the association of pure devotees, there is no discussion about topics other than Krishna's topics. So in that association, even a person who is impersonalist will change into a devotee. Mainly that is the effect of association of pure devotees. Now qualities of pure devotees, there are numerous. It's a whole different subject of, or maybe even a series of classes, But basically, anyways, Ambarish Maharaj's different engagements, that is also a symptom of a pure devotee, how he is engaging himself. So actually, basically, we have covered all that. Alright, so next by Abhay Singhania. Wow, long question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I found few deviations in the Ritvik organizations associated with ISKCON Bangalore, Hare Krishna movement, HKM. But how should we see these things? Because ultimately bhakti is individual's journey in a devotee association. Anyway, every organization must be having their own issues and challenges. No one is perfect in following Prabhupada's standards. Don't know about ISKM, but there must be some with ISKM as well. Please elaborate a little on this, and please a dedicated video on what is wrong with the leadership of HKM. And I read on your website that Madhupandit Das Prabhu was with Sundagopal Prabhu initially, but what happened afterwards is not clear to anyone except few. I am asking just to get clarity and be guided rightly without offending anyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Well, it's a topic which is a little bit off from the topic of the class. Maybe we can address this. I have addressed this in an AMAM session. I think maybe that video at that point, I kind of answered this question before in our Ask Me Anything Mondays session. And maybe the moderator can put the link of that particular class and especially that timestamp where that question was raised. So maybe you can just link that, because it's not exactly the topic of today's class. So we want to keep it to the topic, but we did actually kind of address this. I have addressed this privately to many devotees who asked me, but on the live stream, that's what that link, I think it will be shared in a while. All right, next by Ajanya, Bhakti Ajanya. If anyone don't develop taste by doing devotional service, even though following instructions of spiritual master, no use of the service? Well, no. We have to engage. In the beginning, we don't have such pure taste. We may have a little bit taste, but then again, sometimes, in fact, one disciple asked Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, when we are engaging in Krishna's service, why sometimes we fall into Maya? Prabhupada said, no. You are always in Maya. Sometimes you are Krishna conscious. So that is our state right now. That's why we don't develop that taste, you see. So we have to enthusiastically follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and to enthusiastically follow, we have to keep our sadhana nicely, chant nicely in the morning and attend Mangalarati, deity worship, everything, and cleanliness, all these things must be adhered to. Then, yes, we will have the necessary strength to enthusiastically execute devotional service. Otherwise, it will become dry. It will become, I think in one of the purports, Prabhupada mentioned that it will become like material sense gratification. It will change the quality of the devotional service to material sense gratification if you are not careful. So, it's not that immediately overnight, we will develop all ecstatic symptoms. That is not how, it requires patience, you see. Utsahan nischayat dhairyat. उत्साहान् निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्तिः प्रसिद्ध्यति. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, a related question by again Bhakti Najanya: why initial enthusiasm lost when involving in devotional service? So, in the beginning, everything is new, right? So we are excited. Something new which I have never heard of before. And then, after some time, then we'll get to know something. But then we engage in devotional service, we may lose enthusiasm if we don't keep to the standards. If we, like you see, in the Bhagavad Gita purport, (2.60) purport, you see, Yamunacharya is saying, Yadavadhimam chetah Krishna padarvinde Navanavarasadhaman Yudyatam rantumasit Tadavadhibatanari Sangame smaryamane Bhavati mukha vikarah Sushtu nishthevanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So if the enthusiasm wanes, or if, and actually, first of all, if we don't keep to our sadhana, and if we don't hear regularly, and if we don't have the preaching mood, it should not be hackneyed, just like routine work. Yes, there has to be routine work, of course. 16 rounds and waking up for Mangalarati, all these are routine work. But we should always be surcharged with the understanding of what we are doing and enthusiastically do it. That's why enthusiasm. To build up that enthusiasm, we have to do Shravanam and Kirtanam very nicely. We have to hear, we have to read Prabhupada's books. If we don't read Prabhupada's books, then that enthusiasm won't come. We should always read. If you read Prabhupada's books, you will see that even you read the same book, you will get newer and newer understanding. It is always like that. And then it will encourage you always, So we should always read and contemplate on these things. That's why our mind should not be led towards materialistic thinking. It has to be about Krishna consciousness. So that is, if we don't keep to the standards, then interest will wane. The thing is, devotees, usually this is what happens. In the beginning, they are, they read all the books and everything, but once they have kind of read, all the books, or, they get a fair view of the basics of the philosophy, they think they are, okay, well, they are situated in devotional service now. Okay, now they stop at that reading. So the link, it is mentioned there, ISKM and ISKCON Bangalore, whatever. So I think it partly answers that question. The link is now there. I think the timestamp, it is actually pointing to the correct exact location in that long video where I answered that question. So again, coming back to the point, if I don't read Prabhupada's books as a daily function, then I will get into this, and if I don't associate with devotees, even I can go on reading Prabhupada's books, but if I don't associate with devotees, again the interest won't be there. Like there is one group of Ritviks, they say that there is no need of initiation, there is no need of temple life. Prabhupada said, I am in my books, so read my books, read Prabhupada's books, and that's it, you can be devotee. But we have seen the product of such so-called devotees. No enthusiasm to preach, not one temple until now. Simply, all they do is they have a magazine in which they just keep on finding fault with ISKCON. Oh, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did this. But what are they doing? Zero. So, what is the productivity there? So, even if we read Prabhupada's books, we have to read it in the association of devotees also. And engage in the service. Reading means what? What is there in the books? It is said that associate with devotees and engage in Krishna's service. Where is the service? Prabhu, reading is my service. Chanting is also service, Prabhu. Some people are like that, As if they are if they are on the platform of Haridas Thakur, yes, I accept. Chanting is their service. Even Haridas Thakur also went door to door to preach. After chanting his 192 rounds every day, he went with Nityananda Prabhu door to door and preached. Haridas Thakur. What to speak of anybody else? So if he had the time to preach, what are we doing? Chanting means he is automatically paradukha dukhi. Paradukha dukhi. That means he has to feel bad for others suffering, and he will automatically go out. Where is the mood? Nothing. No productivity. Simply finding faults with everybody. With ISKCON, with us also they find faults. So-called Ritviks. So what is the point? So do something positive, do something tangible, do some positive service to Srila Prabhupada. That is what here in ISKCM, that is the, engaging service. Simply don't, vanity talk. No point, nothing. Nobody will benefit. In fact, this so-called Ritvik group which I am mentioning, they say that, okay, Prabhupada is the only Guru. Prabhupada. So some people from ISKCON or something, they read their magazine or their book, which states about all these things, all the evidence that Srila Prabhupada is the Guru. So then they read everything and they get convinced. Now then they ask them, okay, now I'm convinced about Prabhupada being the Guru, so how can I engage myself in devotional service? They don't have anything to offer. Zero. Absolute zero. No engagement. So that is also not good. Everything has to be there. Why Srila Prabhupada? See, Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. He did not say books are the only movement, that's it. No. Books are the basis of the movement. Built on the books should be our activity. Our activity should be, we have to, learn from the book and engage. And for that engagement, he has established painstakingly so many temples, 108 temples all over the world. And he fought a big court case in Mumbai also for the temple land. Why? It is not that he wanted to gain some property, no, it was not an ordinary property deal or something like that. It is he established all that so that people can come and engage themselves in service of Krishna, in the association of devotees. So he is offering all these things. Why did he establish temples? Why did he establish the initiation ceremony, the association of devotees, the classes and everything, book distribution, all these activities he has established. Why? Because all these are necessary. And if we always think of how to, Prabhupada said, to best way to control the mind is tax the brain. Prabhupada said, tax the brain, thinking always how to, reach out to more people, how to distribute more books. Always think of expanding the movement. It's not that we have to do major things. Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna Upadesh. Whoever we meet, we talk about Krishna. That's it. One by one. Prabhupada, how he managed this whole movement. He went to America. One by one people were coming. And one by one he interacted with them. And trained them slowly. And then once they get sufficiently trained, then they started. In that way, it all began. Inspiring everybody to also have that same spirit of preaching. That way it happens. So, in that way we have to control our senses and engage everything in Krishna's service, in the association of devotees. Abhay Singhania, is it Prabhupada Anugas? Well, we are also Prabhupada Anugas, like everybody. I'm especially referring to the IRM, ISKCON revival movement, which was started by, Krishnakant, Bhakta Krishnakant. So, that is the thing. Abhay Singhania is further saying, I must say, ISKM is someone who is doing things very rigidly and expanding by the mercy of Prabhupada with all the activities. I would love to see where ISKM would be in the next 10 years. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, by the mercy of Prabhupada. Don't just see, participate also. So, alright. Thank you very much. We'll meet again on Saturday with Chaitanya Charitamrita class, and Monday with again Vaishnava Bhajans. We're also starting a Gita Jayanti, which is on the 25th of December. So we have some book distribution, Gita distribution, but we can't go out, but we are planning in other ways, the details of which will be broadcasted by tomorrow, maximum day after tomorrow max. So this whole December month we want to distribute Bhagavad Gitas, and so in this way at least we can engage in book distribution. Krishnakant took it over. Bhakta Peter is saying IRM was started by Kamsa Hanta and Krishnakant, but Krishnakant took it over. Whatever it is, but they are just talkers and no action. So next, and Kaka Singh is asking, please accept my humble obeisances. How do we focus the mind on devotional service of Lord Krishna when financially things are extremely tough? Well, chanting is free, so there is no price. You're not charged for chanting. See, however tough it is, okay, I'll show you one verse. It doesn't cost you a cent to chant, right? This. Eleven 29-21 Srimad Bhagavatam. Yo yo mayi pare dharma kalpyate nishphalaya chet tadayaso nirarthah syad bhayaderiva sattama. O Uddhava, greatest of saints, in a dangerous situation, an ordinary person cries, becomes fearful and laments. Although such useless emotions do not change the situation. But activities offered to me without personal motivation, even if they are externally useless, amount to the actual process of religion. See that? So, if financially some constraints are there, of course you are trying your best to make ends meet, but at the same time you can only do what you can do, and there's no point becoming fearful and lamenting and such. As I said here, such useless emotions do not change the situation. But activities offered to me without personal motivation, even if they are externally useless, amount to the actual process of religion. They may sound like chanting, how can it help? It may sound like it's useless, it doesn't really help me. But actually, that is what will really help. And even if a person dies, even if a person is dying, if he chants Hare Krishna, even after chanting Hare Krishna, if he dies, It is not that the holy name did not do anything. Chanting the name of God was not powerful enough. It did not save him. No, that's not the point. If he dies chanting, that is the best way to die. Then in that case, then Parikshit Maharaj died after Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. How come Srimad Bhagavatam is so pure, Amalam Puranam, and then after hearing for 7 days without sleeping, without eating, without drinking water, he died still. The curse did not change, nothing. He died same way. It's not the same way. He died. How he passed away? What is that? Let that snake bird come, and whatever was created by that Brahmana boy, let it come. Parikshit Maharaj said, I am not at all afraid. All of you please chant the holy name of Krishna and glories of Krishna, and then I will pass away like that. So it's how we pass away. It's not whether we pass away or not. It's how we die, not whether we die. Of course, this body has to die. That's the destination of this body. Just like an examination, a student has to go through that examination. Whether he passes or fails, that is the thing that matters. It's not that examination will come. No, what is there? Why to prepare for it? When it comes, let's see. No, that's not a proper student. Proper student prepares nicely, and then he passes the examination. So death is examination, but it's not like end all of everything. No, it's whether we pass or fail. We have to pass. So for that, chanting will help. Is the only thing that will help. Nothing else. Same. Okay, next by Vijay Sharma Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, that group you mentioned does have activities. They do have book distribution, etc. Although it might not be on a large scale, but don't forget they did a lot to get Ritvik known in the beginning. So I am not so negative about them. We should hope all Ritvik groups get together someday. See, with that same hope, we were actually trying to cooperate, but absolutely no cooperation. In that group, they may do book distribution. I mean, we don't deny the fact that they did a lot of awareness for the Ritvik system to come out. Yes, agreed, absolutely. But then it is not to be stagnated there. So their idea is, GBC must change, and in ISKCON there has to be Ritviks appointed, and only from those Ritviks we can take initiation. Until then, there is no more initiation. That's it. We cannot take initiation. That is wrong. If the GBC is dysfunctional, then what is the point? And what is the point of waiting for them? If we wait for them, they will just succeed, and we will be just left like this, without ever growing. They don't have a single temple, Prabhu, until now. Why? Because of this. Because you need to, when you have a temple, you have to have deities, you have to have pujaris. How are we going to have all that without initiation? You have to have cooking, and even for the advancement of the devotees, they need initiation, so that they can engage in various other services. So, yes, there has been some this thing, but he has to take the advice of senior devotees who are actually in the field work of preaching. In the field work of preaching means actually establishing temples, training up devotees. That experience, unfortunately, he doesn't have. And he has to take advice from senior devotees. Like Madhu Pandit Prabhu, he is doing preaching. Sundar Gopal Prabhu is doing. So, doing preaching, the field work of preaching, maintaining temples, preaching, that is field work of preaching, Prabhupada said. So, that has to be done. That cannot be done without initiation. That's why they don't have. And not only that, they, in their magazine, Back to Prabhupada, they are writing now articles against us, against ISKM also. What is the problem? Mind their own business, no? So, yes, it is a, we have tried, Prabhu. In fact, now you are saying we should all hope that all Ritvik groups get together someday. For the record, we have spent about $250,000, $250,000 in traveling and in the hopes of, strengthening connections among Ritvik groups. We have worked with so many of them. And unfortunately, not many actually have the same focus. They have ulterior motives in the name of Srila Prabhupada. So, we have attempted with so many, we have traveled so much, and so much we have done. I mean, It's not to brag or something. We never took money from them. We actually spent money, went there. Very, very long distances, expensive. And we have very short-handed here in Singapore. And we sacrificed our manpower here, devotees, and we stretched ourselves thin. And as a team, we went to these countries to establish, forge connections, forge relationships with all the devotees. We have not just hoped for it, we actually worked for it, and we spent $250,000 for it. The result is, many times we have seen so-called senior devotees in the name of Prabhupada Anugas have absolutely no interest in preaching, no interest, don't even follow any standards of sadhana, no Mangalarti, they've forgotten the Mangalarti songs, Tulsi Arati song, Narasimha song, they've forgotten. And when Sundar Gopal Prabhu goes there and just he does nothing much. I mean, he just goes there, wakes up in the morning, chants Mangalarti, gives the class, and then they automatically get enthusiastic, and the leaders get all this thing. The leaders first of all don't even come for anything in many places, not all, but many places. They don't do any morning program properly, nothing, no class, nothing, no devotional service properly. So it's not that we go there and criticize them. No. Sundar Gopal Prabhu's way was always to encourage them and get them into the fold of that maybe because they are not enthused, they're demoralized by ISKCON, whatever, they have slackened in the devotional service. Prabhu always goes there to help them. Okay, come back on track. Even he does not even tell them come back on track. No, he just shows his example, and they get inspired. Some of them, those who are sincere, but there are some who are so-called senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples. They do everything they can to stop it. They don't want preaching to be done. They just want to be known by the local devotees as senior and no training, nothing, no temples, nothing. And then when Prabhu asked them to, Sundar Gopal Prabhu asked them to, start Mangalarti, they say, oh, how come, why is he introducing all these rules? And when he says, don't eat outside, eat only Krishna Prasadam, they don't like it, because they themselves eat pizzas, they eat outside, they eat all restaurant food and everything. So-called Prabhupada Anugas. What kind of Prabhupada Anugas is this? So that's why cooperation is not possible. Just by saying Ritvik or Prabhupada Anuga is not enough. One has to actually follow. You see this third canto, 29th chapter, 17th. Okay, first of all, 8, 9, 10. We have seen this the other day, but Abhisandhaya yohimsam dambham matsaryam eva va samrambhi bhinnadrig bhavam mai kuryatsa tamasah. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry, and who is a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. So some devotees engage like this, devotional service in the mode of ignorance. Some Vishayanabhisandhaya yasha aishwaryameva va archadavarcha yedyomam pritak bhava rajasah. The worship of the deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. So some of them are like this. So now when Sundar Gopal Prabhu goes there, he always wants to get them out of this passion and ignorance, come to the mode of goodness, and for that morning program is essential. So he always institutes the morning program there. He says, okay, at least start once a week first and slowly get the ball rolling, And some people are just not happy with that. Just Mangalarti. Mangal means auspicious. Anything auspicious, if it has to happen first, Mangalarti has to be there. If that is not there, what auspiciousness? So now, I'll go to this verse. See here. 3:29:17 purport. Shown this many times, but again. Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interests and understanding. Such persons are just said to be Svajati or of the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna. If his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. One should steadily control the senses and the mind and strictly follow the rules and regulations, and he should make friendship with persons of the same standard. Now, of course, we will be more than glad if the person is willing to take association and willing to improve himself. That's fine. But there are actually, I'm not saying everybody is like that. There are people who willingly want to change. And they usually end up being the junior devotees. The senior ones don't want to change at all. They think they are already so senior that they cannot be advised. They don't need to change anything. They even forgotten how to wear dhoti and they forgot their bead bag when they come. I have seen all these things. And what was the thing I wanted to show? Yeah, you see this Srimad Bhagavatam 11:29. Tavat karmani kurvit. Actually, not this verse. I wanted to go to this one. You see, stated by the Lord Himself. This is from the Vishnu Dharmottara Puran, supplementary Puran. Shruti smriti mamaivagne yaste ullanghya vartate agnya chedi mama dveshi madbhaktopi na vaishnavaha. The Shruti and Smriti literatures are to be understood as my injunctions. And one who violates such codes is to be understood as violating my will and thus opposing me. Although such a person may claim to be my devotee, he is not actually a Vaishnava. See that? So, Smriti literature is, even whatever is given by Srila Prabhupada, that is to be considered Smriti. Right? So, Prabhupada has instituted a set of rules. If they don't follow and if they are not interested in following, then what to do? We just can't hang on to them and hope for a. If there has to be cooperation, the platform of cooperation is proper following of the rules. We can't cooperate with somebody who's not following and then, okay, let's be friends, never mind, we are after all for Prabhupada. No, that's not for Prabhupada. It has to be on the same standard. Then only it's for Prabhupada. Otherwise, how? How is it possible to cooperate? Eventually, the differences will show, and then it will. That's what we have seen. Practically, we have with great hopes we went. Why would we spend so much money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to forge these relationships? We had great hope, but we hoped everyone would have the same enthusiasm, in pushing this movement for Prabhupada. But many times we saw in the name of Prabhupada, it doesn't happen that way. So anyway, that's a whole different rant. But all right, so I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone, but unfortunately, state of affairs are like that. What to do? So we're still hoping. If there is a, group who wants to cooperate nicely, and we're more than willing, but we just can't hope that everyone will come along. No, that will not happen. Srila Prabhupada also asked his god brothers so many times. So many of his god brothers, he asked them, let's go to America, let's go to America. None of them wanted. Prabhupada said, all my god brothers only gave me depression, compression and suppression. But I just took the order of my spiritual master and went alone. And all success, whatever little success we have, it is because of the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. He always used to say like that. So, we can't hope. In the ideal world, yes, but unfortunately, this is not the ideal world. So, whoever comes, and we go along, and then we cooperate, and then that's it. That's how we will go forward. All right, thank you very much. Are there any cooperating centers in USA? Actually, we don't have a brick and mortar center in the USA, but we have devotees scattered around different parts of USA who are, at least we are having an online sangha of that. We can add you to the WhatsApp group that we have, ISKM USA. It's a very small group, but nevertheless, it's a group, and at least we have online sangha there. Sundagopal Prabhu also goes online. So yeah, for now it is like that, but we are waiting for that opportune moment of somebody who can actually hold the fort there and push the preaching forward in a brick and mortar place, actual physical place. And until then it will be online. And anyway, with COVID we can't do any traveling right at the moment, so but yeah, I will maybe you can drop me a message in on Facebook or something, or even to our page you can message us and we will take it from there. Vijay Sharma Prabhu, thanks Prabhu, glad that you have tried to cooperate in the past. Please try again whenever conditions become favorable. We are open. We expect their cooperation. We just, we are open. They are not open. What can we do? So they don't want. Actually, they not just not cooperate. They will do everything to go against it. They have done it. They have done it so many times. ISKM would have been even bigger, but because of these personalities, it is like this. So they have undermined in many places. We have been through a lot. Anyway, it's that they have to listen. They have to wake up the idea, and then they have to really, come forward and cooperate. We have extended our hands way too much. I mean, they had nothing to spend. They did not spend a single farthing. We spent all the money to go there and then cooperate with them. They did not. They did not like it. You see? Abhay Singhania. I guess we need to title this session something else now. Yeah, it's becoming something else. So alright, I'll stop here. भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा.